look at is the difference between having holes and having a puncture wound. So hopefully we can see through that. Nice big holes. And also with this, essentially it's a puncture wound. You can see my hand behind it. You can see all the way through. 2 pieces. We have this one, which is even thinner, even smaller, much tighter hole, but we've not removed any material. Same on this one. Whereas this, we have. So we want the leather to be quite tight around the thread that we're using. If we're using thick, chunky lace or something thicker, this would be fine if it could fill the gaps in the leather. Whereas using this, so I tend to use 0.8mm flat braided nylon. This stuff, see it in all my other videos. When I pass this through, even just with a running stitch, we can see that there'll be some resistance with the leather, which is why it pulls. I pull it, it gets stuck. Whereas with these holes, there's nothing, it's just loose. So if I just do a running stitch, I'm going to go 3 holes and then back the 3 holes. So running stitch there, running stitch back. We can see that that would hold these 2 pieces of leather together. Big old gap, big old holes. You can see the space between the thread. So even if we was to pull tension on this, it's just going to come apart. You can see the tension there. If I pull this tight, we can see these pieces of the thread here pull nice and tight, but as soon as I let go, they loosen off. Because there's nothing holding it in place. Big old gap. So we've done 3 holes, there and back again, and if I just pull this, I'd imagine it's come straight out. Let's do the same on this. So we've not removed any material, we've just made some puncture wounds. So using the craft tool, Tandy Leather 3mm chisel. So let's do 3 holes again. 1. Just hold that there. 3 holes, and I'll just come back on myself as well. We can see here straight away that it's been held in place just by the leather. Sure I'm not piercing the thread. So if we look that there's some looseness to it, if I pull this tight, I'm going to let go. This part of the thread here has not loosened off like it did when it was just through the holes, because the leather is holding it in place. If I pull this really tight, it might come undone. Nope. I can't actually pull that any tighter, it's slicing into my finger. So the leather itself is holding this in place. And then if we look at something even tighter, so much smaller holes. So the puncture wound is smaller. See that? Let's line these up. So they're closer together and they are, it's a smaller hole. I'll still see through it. Hopefully you can still see through these, but let me just do 3 on this. going to make sure I'm not puncturing through the thread, which I think I might have done there. Oop, that's how tight these holes are. Yeah, I'll take this done, it's fine. But even without stitching on both sides, even just doing a running stitch of 3 holes, if I pull this, it is moving. But core blimey, there's a lot of tension there. So the material itself is retaining. Actually, we've made a friction-based retention method using the angle on which the thread's been held, because we've used diamonds. So it holds it on this lovely angle. And look at how tight the leather is. The other thing, once we've punched these holes, after a while, especially if you're hammy stitching down, the gap between them and the amount of wound that you've made, the puncture hole that you've made, will start to come in closer. This, it cannot do that because you've removed the material. Like I say, if you're going to be using something like a lace, then a nice big hole like this might be beneficial. If that's all you've got and you just need to loosely stitch something together, that will hold. You tie this off at the end. That'll definitely hold the thing that you're trying to piece together. But when you look at doing much finer pieces of work, I mean, even that with a back stitch on it, I can still pull it up, will hold. But when you want to do some finer work, look down something like this. This is the KS Blades Punch 3.85 video on the differences between these stitching chisels that I've used. But that is why I would not use holes on leather work.